Alrighty. Just in a bit of a waiting period here while our opponent PCH gets some things lined up for their deck, but we are pretty much ready here. Some discussion going on while waiting for the game to start. In the Revolution General chat, Stasis, the creator of the set, is on a very similar deck to what I'm doing. They are a little bit slower blue-black deck. I think I talked about I might have brought this up in the deck tech. They're looking to do more indulgence things with Feast of Whispered Knives and Glauna. Perfectly reasonable things, but I feel like indulging is too slow. I don't want to be indulging. I don't want to be feasting. I want to kill my opponent. I want to kill my opponent. I want to do it fast, and I want to do it sustainably. Um, Granted, my deck is so much greedier than theirs. They're on 21 lands. I'm on a whole 18, so we'll see how that fares. Um, I'm I'm optimistic though. I think this deck can really go the distance. I think this deck's two biggest weaknesses are there's a lot of complexities with what to eat in your graveyard, and there's a lot of complexities with how to properly mulligan with this deck. But I think the more competent and comfortable I get with making those decision points, the better this deck is going to feel for me. I just really have to remind myself that just because I can play things on 1 and 2 does not necessarily mean the hand is keepable. And just because the hand is like a little light on lands or a little light on action doesn't mean the hand has to be mulliganed if the hand has the right action at the right time. I think getting a turn one Laystone is the dream, but there are a whole 7 tapped lands in the deck and an additional 3 that cannot cast Laystone on one. That is a strong argument for perhaps trimming a Morris, trimming an island, going up a cityscape and a swamp. So then I have 9 lands that cast Laystone on one. But again, right now we're just playing the deck, trying to see how things feel. If we can't get a Laystone on one, so be it. I think we can still very comfortably do a lot of explosive things with the deck, and I'm very optimistic. So I'll pause things here, and then we'll pick back up when the game's getting started. Alrighty here. Rolled a 2 for my opponent. I rolled a 6. I will absolutely play. That's a one lander. We could oh, this is keepable. Yeah, this is keepable for sure. So on first blush, this hand looks bad, right? This hand's a one lander, and we've got a whole single one drop on one. But because we have the cityscapes, this can be Laystone of Ruin onto, or we can play Arduous Miners onto. We can play Lurking Verkalakis onto. Definitely keeping 7. And we're going to go main 1, redevelop Cityscape, and pass. And I think here right now we're going to pitch the Dying Pledge to Cityscape. Glassy Sound Vein here, they're taking 1, playing their own Laystone of Ruin. Oh, you poor sweet fool. Exile Dying Pledge. View library. Let's go get our one of our swamps into play tapped, and I think we're going to get an island to hand here. So that does hinder the rush to get Laystone of Ruin into play. And then we mill Gargantua and our own Laystone. Interesting. We'll untap and draw here and hit a Virkalakis. So they've got a Venerable Veteran, Archaic Obelisk, and Phoenix's Judgment. Very interesting. I hadn't really considered running Venerable Veteran. Perhaps that was worthwhile to look at. But I just am not crazy about a 2-mana creature that just can't block. Maybe that's something to consider. We'll we'll get to learn some things from our opponent here. I think I'm going to play an island and run out an Arduous Miners here. Choice. Oh. Or they will just discard before I can finish sending my message. Pitching a Spore Spawning for each permanent card you own in your graveyard and in exile. Ooh, so they're a Sultai deck. Very interesting. Dredge Mirror. Very different Dredge decks, it looks like. They are going for like Spore Spawning, Venerable Veteran, Obelisk. I am going for very different things. So I think this is going to be a matchup where we really do want both graveyards open. Just taking a look at what our opponents are cooking versus what we're doing. See a Fungal Mire in the bin. The Veteran could be cast here. I think right now, because of the Laystone that they have in play, I'm not looking to get mine into play necessarily. They're playing a tapped Fungal Mire and just passing. Love to see that. They're milling a Fungal Mire Infested Effluvium. Interesting. I'm milling another Laystone in a Swamp. Honestly, cool to see the Laystones get out of here. Don't really need them right now. I'll untap and draw. Another redeveloped Cityscape. I think that might just be like pitch the Laystone of Ruin to Cityscape and then Verkalakis eat my own graveyard here. Just to guarantee that I'm growing rather than hitting lands in their bin. So Cityscape, I'm not going to crack it immediately. I'm just going to run out the Verkalakis. Target myself. Exile, Laystone of Ruin. Grow the Verkalakis. Gain 1. And then this sees a card leave my graveyard. I will make a tapped treasure. And let's go to combat. And swing 1. And let's just pass there. We're playing Archaic Obelisk here. Milling Spore Spawning, rank and Defile. Interesting. Will they remove the counter to get the Spore Spawning? Probably not, right? And they don't want the... Oh, they're taking the rank and Defile? Interesting. It's a bit slow. I don't really mind losing the Arduous Miners here. Crack here. Pitching Laystone. Oh, and I should have... Oh no, I should. This should be my exile. View library. Let's go get Swamped, play tapped, and Mountain to hand. Just get our colors in case we draw a Garen here. And then mill an Arduous Miners and a Lavatorn Fields. Untap and draw. Double Virkalakis is nice here. Perhaps we just start applying pressure to our opponent's graveyard here. I think I like that. Alternatively, we swing Virkalakis and Miners, eat the Laystone, then play Virkalakis, just eat 2 Cityscapes, build up the treasures, and be able to flash in Zigzag's Apex next turn. I like that more. Let's go to combat. Swing, target myself, eat Laystone, gain 1. They take 4. I gain 3. Second main, mountain, if it'll let me. There we go. Tap 2 for Virkalakis. Oh, and I should have a tapped treasure here from that. Target myself. Eat the cityscape. No generation, but I will make a treasure. And I do have the 7 mana now, so I'm going to play a Virkalakis and target my opponent. Presumably just hitting a land here. Very fortunate that I hit 3 of the Graveyard Hate cards in my Graveyard Mirror match. Very, very fortunate for me. I have the treasure up to all that remains if necessary. It can rebuy me the treasure as well. I do like just holding up the Zixthax Apex here, though. Industrialized. Scry 1, draw a card, then discard a card. And they can flash it back. That is an exciting potential value piece for this deck, for sure. Drawing a card, discarding Zixthax Apex. So that is going to be something that they can eat. They can exile in the face of a Virkalakis. I think Miner has done its job. I'm going to send the Miners away. I think the Virkalakis is just a more meaningful threat here. They're going to mill themselves for 2. End step, we both mill 2. I'm going to mill Writhing Lurking Virkalakis number 4. They mill Desolate Sound Vein Phoenix's Judgment. So as it stands here, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage here. Don't think they've got a whole lot here. Let's untap. Draw. Swamp is promising. There's a world where maybe we flash back the all that remains here. Let's... I think what we're going to do is we're going to turn sideways, eat Writhing Virkalakis Gargantua. Yeah. Let's go to combat. Swing with all 3. All 3 target me. Eat Writhing Virkalakis Gargantua. These all get a counter. They all grow. I gain 3. These go to exile. My Writhing is going to target me to draw a card. And then I can start clearing arrows. And then go to damage. And that is a solid 9. Take them to 5. Gain 9. Up to 38. Main phase to run out the swamp. Flashback all that remains. Discarding an island. View top 3. Dying Pledge, Rivaling, and Scrapyard Mecha. I like binning the Rivaling and the Dying Pledge and just putting the Mecha into hand. And then this is exiled. And we pass. And we've got 3 damage over the top here next turn. They can Spore spawning with an untapped land here. If they have an untapped green source specifically. And then Spore spawning will put like 10 1/1s into play. But I just have gained so much life over the course of this game. Lost no fourth land, and don't even have to show them the apex in hand here. Uh, Looks like they are going to try and take some game actions, going to industrialize perhaps. Yeah. Oh, from hand. I thought that might be the one in the graveyard, but yeah, industrialize from hand sounds good. Um, Token spam is not something I really had as much of a plan for as necessarily straight aggression. Pitching and industrialize from their hand, they hit the Morris here, which is going to enter tapped, and they are going to concede. That is game one locked up. Um, so looking at what options we have available to us, Rank and Defile seems a little bad. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot that we can meaningfully do to interact with our opponent's board necessarily off of Rank and Defile. There's more of an argument for Braze. Um, there's maybe an argument for Search and Seizure, but I think we might just be tuned enough for this matchup. I could see maybe specifically trimming Laystone of Ruin is the questionable card here. Like our opponent lost that game by filling our graveyard. We could very well lose the game from filling our opponents, but I think our deck might be able to just leverage the Laystone better. I don't know. There's an argument for keeping for keeping the Laystone. There's an argument for cutting it for Search and Seizure just to take away our opponent's critical cards. But I also don't really want to put things in our opponent's graveyard. I'm just gonna run it back. The opponent doesn't need to know that we didn't actually sideboard. And let's see how this next game goes. Just kind of waiting on our opponent. All right, they are choosing to play. Two lander here. Ugh, all of our top end really kicking around. This is what I mean, where it's like this deck looks like it could be fine, but we need to keep hands that can actually meaningfully take game actions. This hand is much better. I'm going to move an Apex to the bottom and keep 6. Don't love having to get rid of an Apex, but like with Ignited Soul in the opener, but I do think the hand is probably just going to be Ignited Soul into like swing, pitch all that remains, either get an Arduous Miners into play or all that remains for the second land drop while binning an Apex. Either way, we're likely to get an Apex into the graveyard turn 2. It helps that our graveyard interaction is in the main deck for sure. That is the aforementioned graveyard interaction. Gonna go swamp into Ignited Soul here and just pass the turn. Time to see how good this card really is. I think it's pretty good. I don't actually recall if I talked too much about it in the video, but I believe I discussed it in the review. I think this card's just very good. Desolate Soundvein, enter tapped. Choosing green. Interesting. Archaic Obelisk, I see. Enter with a charge counter, immediately going to mill 2. Oh, they're not going to take the mill yet. Interesting. I suppose they know I've got Lurking Fear Colossus. They could assume I boarded into more Graveyard Hate, so they're trying to wait to see what I play. I'm going to untap and draw. That is the second swamp. That is going to help really inform decisions. But I think before I make any choices about land drop, I'm going to go to combat and swing the Ignited Soul. Let's see them take 1. Yeah, they're going to take the 1. Discarding all that remains to draw a card. Chittering Gargantua. On second main phase, let's Play our second swamp and just run out an Arduous Miners. Play face down to not inform our opponent about what we're making our choice here. Yeah, we both get rid of an Apex here. Unsurprising. Uh, um, and pass away. They take the mill. Let's get our opponent's graveyard opened up here. Rank and Defile Writhling. Some good stuff going on over there. Then we're on Apex All That Remains. Archaic Obelisk milling. Another Apex and a Chittering Gargantua. See, I thought about Archaic Obelisk. I just felt like we only wanted so many things that just sit there and mill. We wanted stuff that can provide board presence. And in that respect, like the more creatures we have in deck, the more reliable Gargantua becomes. But without it, like we can only do so much. Lush Oasis, tapping Sound Vein for Laystone, cycling a Laystone. I see. And I'm assuming they will be targeting themselves with their Laystone here. So they move to end step. Yeah, predictably targeting themselves, milling an island and All That Remains. Hate seeing one of those islands go. Would much rather see like some creatures hit the graveyard for Chittering Gargantua. I think I'm going to lead in an All That Remains pitching the Gargantua here. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I make attacks first. Another Rivaling. Maybe I just rivaling their Rank and Defile and their Chronicle of Extinction here. Let's go to combat first. I'm going to be pitching the Chittering Gargantua to Ignited Soul. Another Apex. I could All That Remains here, actually. I could All That Remains and just writhing away the Rank and Defile. Like, the Chronicle of Extinction's so far off here. Yeah, let's All That Remains, pitching an Apex. This triggers to make a tapped treasure. View the top 3 cards of library. Virkalakis, Mecha, Swamp. I could take the Mecha, but I have already lost a blue source. It could just be the Virkalakis and just like apply a ton of pressure on opponent's graveyard starting the next 2 turns. Yeah, I think it's going to be Virkalakis, binning Swamp, binning Mecha. They take 1. Yeah, there we go. And then I pass. Maybe there was an argument to just grabbing the Mecha over the Virkalakis, knowing that Oh, 2 lands. Maybe they remove a counter just to get the land drop? No, they do not care for the lands here. But so maybe there was an argument for taking the mecha knowing that my Arduous Miners was yielding me a treasure here. Kind of hard for me to know for sure. Choosing green on the Nascent Light Vein, and it is coming in untapped. Tapping 4 mana. Chronicle of Extinction? Chronicle, yeah. So there goes the board. Milling Garen and Swamp. Untap, forget their names. Choose target card in a graveyard other than a basic lands. Search its owner's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and exile them. You gain 1 life. I'm going to want to Writhlink that this turn. Draw an Arduous Miners. I think I'm going to play Virkalakis, target our opponent. Exile the swamp so we don't gain the life. Crack the treasure. Writhling. Yeah, you take 1. Come on. There we go. And then, yeah. Kind of fizzling out a little bit here. We can, all that remains next turn, try and just dig deeper. Milling a Spore Spawning in a Cradle of Rebirth, that's going to be a problem. Spore Spawning with 10 permanent cards in the graveyard, now 11 with Cradle going. That is going to present a very difficult board to get through. They're playing Vigorous Sound Vein here, not paying the life. Spore Spawning for 10 tokens? Oh, they removed the counter from Obelisk to put the land in hand. I see. Yeah, okay. That is going to flood the board a little hard for us to get through now. Very awkward that we've just been sort of stuck on the mana here. This is a case where I think our opponent's deck is just more stable because they're trying to play a little slower. They have the plan to just keep hitting land drops. Oh yeah, because it's cards in exile too. Because I exiled a swamp, so they do make 11. Milling Industrialized Warpway Rings for our opponent. Milling Arduous Miners for us. So that is all 4 miners gone. Untap and draw. That is Garen Returned Profit. Let's flashback all that remains. Pitching Garen. Utop card. Virkalakis Morris. I may just concede here to conceal some information, though I think they know we've got the Virkalakis in the deck. They know we're on Flooded Morris. This may be just an issue of our opponent having a sideboard plan for this matchup, whereas our deck is not really angled to fight the other versions of this deck, the other greedy graveyard decks. I am going to say GG's on this and push us to game 3. So once again, I think Search and Seizure just looks a little awkward here. It is hard to cast in this particular deck for certain. But coupling that into like other problems that we have with our opponent, we're just poorly lined up here, I think. Our deck's more explosive, but if the game starts to peter out, our opponent really can just put the pressure on the board and keep us from doing stuff. This is a 0 lander. We've got a mulligan. Mull. 2-lander with not a ton of action, but we do have Arduous Miners to pitch Apex. And then we can go Scrapyard Mecha on a 3rd land drop. It's not great. It's really not great. But I think we've got to keep it over nothing and then just move Garen to the bottom and then swamp and pass. I don't love pitching Garen with Apex Gargantua here. Laystone is going to get the engine rolling for us. They're milling 2. I'm milling Apex, Lurking Virkalakis. We see Fido's Offshoot. Interesting. Oh, that's a solid graveyard hate piece if we ever pick away their graveyard for sure, because that just nukes ours. Wow, wow. Opponent's on some cool things going on over there. Much spicier list than ours in terms of just like grindy, greedy value. Lavatorn Fields here does get us our 3rd land drop. Let's go Island into Arduous Miners. Play this face down. They pitch a Fungal Mire. We pitch a 2nd 6th Apex and pass. Oh, sorry, they're pitching a Flooded Morris, which tells me they're probably playing the Fungal Mire next turn. I think there are some cards in their deck that might be a little suspect. I'm not crazy about Phoenix's Judgment in their list. I do think the Archaic Obelisk was proving itself there. Yeah, there's the Fungal Mire and an Archaic Obelisk. So they're probably going to mill themselves for 4 and then mill us for 2. Swamp and Dying Pledge. Bummer to not see a 4th creature there for the Gargantua, but we'll take what we can get. Another Apex. Let's go Lavatorn Fields. Scrapyard Mecha. Combat. Swing 1. Going to draw a card, discard the Zigzag's Apex, and just pass after that. They mill Apex Glassy Sound Vein. Could see them lose the counter to get the Sound Vein, but they're choosing not to. Interesting. I think they've got 2 lands in hand then. Because I feel like if they don't have the 4th land, they take the Sound Vein so they can Spore Spawning on 4. Upkeep Obelisk is interesting. Don't think there's a world where they take either of these. I think the Glassy Sound Vein's better than Vigorous for them. Yeah, they agree. Vigorous Sound Vein's not really what they're looking for. I think that really solidifies they were probably thinking over Phoenix's Judgment or nothing. Like it does gain them 3 life potentially, or like just have them mill 8 and then draw a card if they can get to the Devotion. Plays a Nascent Light Vein into hand. If they choose blue, this is untapped. Yep. Untapped blue source. Mm-hmm. Finax's Judgment, mill 8. Yeah, so they're just milling another 10 here. Ranked to Violent Industrialize, forget their names. Writhling, Chronicle of Extinction, another forget their names, Island, Writhling, and Phoenix's Judgment. And then end step we both mill 2. I'm milling a Virkalakis and a Miner. That's interesting. Alrighty. Untap, draw. A Virkalakis is promising. Perhaps we don't pitch the Virkalakis. Perhaps we don't play the Laystone this turn. I think what we are always doing is we are always casting Chittering Gargantua. We are exiling Apex, Apex, Virkalakis, Miners. So these shoot my opponent for 6 and I gain 6. And we make a tapped treasure token because one or more cards left our graveyard. Gargantua in play. Tap the Gargantua for Scrapyard Mecha. And we're going to go to combat and swing 6. On damage, draw 2. Yeah, let's pitch a swamp, maybe? Let's pitch a swamp. And then second main, Flooded Morris, Lurking Virkalakis, eat our own graveyard, eat our Dying Pledge. So we gain 1, this grows, and we make another tapped treasure. And then we pass, and Mecha stops being a creature. So they could spore spawning here make a ton of tokens, but I think they die if they do that. No, I know they die if they do that. Milling Writhling Swamp. Getting Writhling. Possibly? So you can get back Writhling to draw a card here. So they're definitely putting the swamp away. Then they're tanking on the Writhling here. I very much like that they can't just snap their fingers, spore spawn, and kill us. Okay, so they chose to get the Writhling draw card, and they're going to spore spawning here? If it's spore spawning or if it's Chronicle of Extinction, they die. Because I've got lethal on board. Yeah, 4 in the air, 3 off of just animating the Scrapyard Mecha. So they can't quite stabilize with spore spawning here. And that is what I drew this up to be as. Just like too many moving parts to meaningfully interact with too hard. The Fight Us All shoot was some sick tech out of our opponent here. Gonna be talking with my opponent a bit about like ideas because our decks are so similar but sort of bent in like different paces. And I'll see you all in the next league match.